Chapter 35. The battle with Ace and the guys has earned me my first trip to the special housing unit. My stomach is in knots now that my adrenaline has slowed down. First, I am placed in an outside recreation cage where I'm strip searched. Once that is done, I am given an orange jumpsuit, new socks, boxers, and t-shirts. I am left in the recreation cage for an hour, pacing back and forth, angry, as my face swells up. With stitches in my lip, my mouth feels awkward. An SIS lieutenant is standing at the gate waving me closer to him. He tries to engage me in conversation through the rust-stained fencing. "Marks, does this have anything to do with what happened with Pike?" the lieutenant asks. "What are you talking about?" I answer his question with my own question. "Don't play stupid. I need to know if I need to shut my compound down." "Man, you left me out here all this time to ask me that bullshit? To do your job? You want to be an asshole, Marks? I will send your ass to California. Your dumb ass will be in Victorville," he says, pointing his finger at me. "Get the fuck away from me, jerk off. I'm done talking to you, punk." I point my finger back at him. "Okay, pussy. You'll see when your punk ass is on that bus." "Fuck you, punk." I say this and turn my back to him in an act of disrespect. For a split second, I felt like spitting in his face since he called me a pussy. My decision not to is motivated by the fact that had I done so, the guards would have likely beat me to a pulp. Ace and my new enemies are only a few cages away. The same cop walks to their cage for a few words. On his way back past my cage, he says nothing, but he does throw me the bird. I return his goodbye with my own middle finger and a nice verbal, "fuck you," that I hope he remembers. It's standard protocol for most real convicts to refuse to speak with an SIS officer. I never want anything in my file that says I cooperated with them. Keeping my mouth shut is observing basic principle. Arguing with the SIS cop and not answering him buys me 3 more hours in the recreation cage. All I really want to do is get a mattress and lay down. I have a headache, my ribs hurt, and parts of my face are black and blue. On top of that, my lip feels like it is so swollen, it might burst. The guards eventually take me to a cell door. To my delight, no one is in the cell. This single cell was likely earned because of my refusal to answer any of the lieutenant's questions. They have no idea who I have problems with or why. After what happened with Pike, I'm sure they want to avoid anyone stabbing me. Not that they care if I get stabbed, only that they do not want any of the backlash that might come with it. With all the violence in recent days, the prison goes on lockdown once again. I couldn't care less. When the prison shuts down, most people are safe, both staff and prisoners. I'm only alone for a few days before there is a knock at the door. "Marks, you're getting a cellmate." "I'm not taking no cellie," I say, jumping from my bed and rushing to the door. "Oh, you're getting one, Marks. It's your boy Pike." At the mention of Pike's name, my stress subsides. 2 officers bring Pike to the cell, handcuffed in front. The food flap on the door opens for me to cuff up. Pike comes into the cell. He's uncuffed first, then me. The hard metal door slams behind us. It has been 14 days since I last seen Pike. He looks depleted, but is able to smile. "You all right?" "Man, they fucked me up, Chad. Not really, man. They got me on these pain pills, and I'm still hurting all over." Pike looks horrible, stitches in his lip and nose. Metal staples decorate the gashes in his head. His hands have staples in them as well. Then he takes off his shirt and shows me his back. It is adorned with grotesque knife wounds. Each wound is surrounded by black and blue marks. His hands look even worse, as if they've been in a meat grinder. I turn away. I don't want to see anymore. I look out the small square window in the cell door and stare at the gloomy yellow of the door across from ours. "I can't believe it, Pike. They did that shit to you." "Me either. I thought it was a possibility, but not this bad. They told me you died, man." "Fuck, I might have been better off if they killed me. It would have hurt my parents, but they would have gotten over it. I got life anyway. This shit is killing them and me slowly." "You gotta hold on, man. You got your appeal still pending." "Man, that shit's a joke. They ain't never letting me out." I'm startled and look up quickly. The same SIS lieutenant is at the door. "What's up?" I ask. "I'm not here to see you. Where is Pike?" I step to the side so Pike can talk to him. "Pike, I need you to cuff up so I can talk to you." "About what?" "Oh, I don't know, Mr. Pike. Maybe about you almost getting killed?" The blatant sarcasm is intentional. "I'm cool. I ain't talking to no one. I got a life sentence. I'm not talking to anyone. I got enough problems as it is." "Well, I'll tell you what. You want to refuse? I'll leave you in the fucking hole for a year before I transfer you to Victorville with Marks. Would you like that?" "Man, go talk to the dude before they try to get you killed," I say. Pike takes my advice. "All right, you're putting me in a bad position, but I ain't trying to sit down here for a year. There ain't much for me to say, though." As Pike exits down the range, someone yells out, "Rat-ass motherfucker." I shake my head, fed up with the ignorance of prison. Somebody's car slides under the door. This car is made from an empty toothpaste tube with small pieces of soap smashed down inside for weight. A long piece of string is attached to the end. This is the only way to transport confidential messages from cell to cell in the shoe. Cars and lines are also used to exchange money, to transport drugs, wine, newspapers, and magazines. "What's up?" I holler out the crack in the door. "Pull the line, bro," a voice calls back. I pull the line as instructed. A kite is attached. I unwrap the paper. The brief message reads, "Listen, Wood, check this out. We know you're not a rat, but your celly is downwind, snitching on my guys. You can fix your problem with us by smashing Pike when he comes back. Doing the right thing can never be wrong. A rat is never right, Wood. You did good out there on the yard, too, with Ace and the rest of those lames. Your own people turned on you, bro. Do the right thing. With respect, Dinky." I laugh at Dinky's lame attempt to manipulate me into assaulting my friend. Gang members refer to whites as woods. A group of whites is called the Woodpile. He's trying to sway me with the wood reference as if we share some type of allegiance because we are white. But if he had a chance, he would slit my throat. We both know it. My written response is simple. "Yo, check this out. Pike has 2 life sentences, and he ain't no snitch. He ain't snitching on them 2 cowards you call your guys. You made the wrong call on a good white dude, Wood. With the utmost respect, fuck you and your punk-ass gang. You better hope to God I don't catch you alone somewhere. To me, you are a heroin junkie plotting on white people. Fuck your mother for having a puke like you as a kid. With respect, Chad." I yell out the door for Dinky to pull the line. The kite disappears under my door like a magic trick. The verbal response does not take long. "Chad, look out. Check this out, Wood. You're in the hat now. I want you to know that. The BOP is a small place. A very small world, my friend. Now you're hit like your rat-ass celly." My response is just as vulgar. "You're a dope addict, a bitch, and a faggot. You and your boys are the heroin brotherhood. A bunch of scumbags. Write your mother and tell her you're going to be dead soon, Chad. Leave your knife in your cell tomorrow and come into the recreation cage with me, soft-ass motherfucker," I yell back. "You calling me out? I'll be there, Chad." The other prisoners are hooting and hollering now. The entire range is alive. Guys are yelling at Dinky and his cellmate Swift. Everyone is disrespecting them. Most of the whites in the shoe were either beat up by gang members or checked in because of them. This is their way of getting back at Dinky. They kick the doors, making a racket. Dinky is being denied the opportunity to get a word in. When the noise subsides, Swift is on the door yelling, "Chad, you got all these fucking check-ins riding your coattail. Be outside tomorrow. We got nothing left to say." Swift has nothing left to say because once he started to talk, the other prisoners chimed in, screaming epithets at him with more kicking and banging on the doors. Swift and Dinky are in the cell, catty-corner from my cell. I give him the middle finger in the window, mouthing the words, "I'll be there, punk-ass bitch." Things have calmed down when Pike comes back up to the cell. I spend a few minutes giving him the play-by-play. Neither one of us knew they were housed on the same range as us, another example of the federal prison system failing. We talk about what will happen in the morning. Dinky has to come to the cage with me. Once I disrespected him, he has no other choice. Win, lose, or draw, Dinky must save face. He knows. Physically, he has no chance with me. So that means he will be bringing a weapon. Both Pike and I think I can take the knife from him. Retribution for Pike is only hours away. I am going outside to cash a check for Pike by punishing Dinky. Sleep does not come easy. I am nervous, a little bit excited. Dinky and his gang have done so many violent, dirty things to people. Now it's his turn to feel some of the pain he has caused other people, and I get to do it. I cannot think of a better person. As the guard walks down the range taking the recreation list, I hear prisoners sign up that never go to recreation. Check-ins, sex offenders, victims of violence, everybody has an interest in what is about to take place. No one wants to pass up the chance to see Dinky get pummeled. I am handcuffed first, then led down the range. For a moment, I feel like a UFC fighter making his way to the cage for a championship bout. Anger and a thirst for revenge well up in my veins. I imagine I am walking through an underground hallway into a coliseum that opens to a death pit with screaming spectators. But it's just the lonely hallway of Big Sandy Special Housing Unit. The thing I want more than anything right now is to be able to grab Dinky by his long, straggly hair and punch his face. The cold air hits me in the face first. The steel cage in front of me glistens in the morning sun. All that is missing is the entrance music. Black Sabbath's War Pigs would be fitting. I wait hungrily for Dinky to appear. I see him step through the doorframe, squinting as the sun blinds him momentarily. Anticipation builds. Everyone looks on in silence. All eyes are on Dinky and me. My arms are heavy, palms sweaty, my heart is racing. Calmly, I call out to Dinky to let him know where I am. Hey, homeboy, tell him to put you over here, Wood. The guard steers Dinky my way. Our steel cage match is almost ready to begin. I want this to happen, need this to happen. As Dinky gets closer, he snarls aggressively. I'm going in this cage right there, with that motherfucker. Another guard hears him. Looking over, the guard screams out, Don't put him in there, that guy is Pike Selly. I grit my teeth in anger. My face falls, darkening. Dinky made a scene to draw attention to himself in hopes of not going into a cage with me. Screams are hurled at Dinky immediately. Dinky, you're a scared-ass punk. You might as well check in now. People are laughing at the comment. Boos rumble in from the dissatisfied spectators who anticipated seeing blood. They have been denied their moment of joy in a joyless place. Dinky's credibility just hit rock bottom. When he was alone, with no one to help him, his heart faltered in the face of adversity. Although I was unable to destroy him physically, I find some satisfaction in exposing him for what he is, a coward who manipulates other people to do his dirty work. This is who Dinky is, and always will be. A man who for years plotted on white prisoners. He blames it on the guard, but everyone saw what he did. I apologize to the spectators, an act of mockery, adding to Dinky's shame. I'm sorry, men, that tough-ass ABT shot caller over there in cage 4 is soft. Soft as grandma's toilet paper. Hold your ticket stubs as we will try to reschedule. I raise my hand in victory, followed by a little shadow boxing. The people in the other cages cheer. Even the officers chuckle a bit. Dinky stands off to the corner of his cage, dejected. For a long time, many people at this prison feared Dinky and his crew. Today, the check-ins who feared him most enjoyed a small victory, watching Dinky become the fearful one. Recreation has ended, and as Dinky walks past my cage, he attempts to spit on me. The cops yank his cuffs up, pushing him forward. I smile at him. Damn, Dinky, you're on some police shit, man. Fuck you, he hollers this over his shoulder. Back in the cell, I tell Pike what happened. Man, all them dudes are punks. I already know that, Pike. Always knew Dinky was a coward. They need knives and 2 or 3 guys on one person. Real cowards, Chad. I expose Dinky, put him on Front Street, I say with a smile. Pike is strong enough to slap me a high five. Wherever you go, Chad, be careful, because they are going to try to kill you. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Dude, you might need one of them stab vests I made. Like the one you didn't wear? Yeah, the one you didn't think I needed weeks ago? As crazy as it is, we both laughed together. Today we won a small battle, but certainly not the war. The war is staying alive. The war is continuing to breathe in federal prison. Chapter 36. In the Special Housing Unit, days drag on. This housing unit is nothing more than a gloomy warehouse storing live bodies before packing the eventual shipment to a new prison. Anguish and loneliness have set in for both Pike and I. The SHU has a way of fundamentally dehumanizing a person, leaving them broken. The unit resembles a massive concrete bunker. The windows are painted over to prevent prisoners from seeing outside. It is a labyrinth of cells, halls, each pathway sealed off from the outside world by walls, gates, and guards. The physical environment reinforces a sense of depressing isolation and detachment from the outside world. It helps create palatable distance from ordinary compunction and community norms. It is a place that builds anger while at the same time loneliness and desperation. The SHU blocks you off from the world and from the world within the prison. Some men spend years in the SHU, in isolation. Even though long-term solitary confinement is decried by human rights groups worldwide, our federal government uses it on many occasions simply as punishment. Experiencing this living arrangement firsthand makes it impossible to fathom how any person can live like this for years. To me, it seems like a slow grind of torture. Each day, little by little, a piece of me is dying. I am suffering, slowly being destroyed both mentally and emotionally. I spend hours pacing back and forth in the 9-foot area. When I tire, Pike takes over and does the same. On our 27th day, another prisoner is put on our range, just 3 cells down. Another white prisoner named Martin. Every 30 days, Martin is moved to a different floor in the SHU. Martin stands in the middle of the cell and screams for hours upon hours. When his larynx tires, he lays on the floor, on his back, and kicks the door like a normal person would ride a bicycle. Sleep does not come easy. When Martin retires, we go to sleep as well. The whole range learns to get some sleep when Martin is resting. It is clear to me that he has mental health issues and needs to be in a mental health institution with medication, not locked in a solitary confinement cell in one of the most dangerous prisons the United States has to offer. They've left Martin here to rot, the good guys. Martin never showers. He continually wipes feces on the wall and on himself. A guard, nicknamed Cowboy, enjoys harassing Martin. Sometimes he gives him the middle finger. Sometimes he calls Martin vulgar names. When Martin is sleeping, he will kick his door. One day the Cowboy slipped up. He left Martin's door flap open after serving his meal. Martin had brewed an evil concoction, urine mixed with feces in a VO5 shampoo bottle. Opportunity, how kind you can be when you open your arms to me. Martin aims his bottle at the Cowboy's back, and then Martin squeezes. His homemade super soaker sprays shit and piss on the Cowboy's back. Cowboy's instincts tell him to jump out of the way as soon as he feels the wetness pelt his back. Cowboy dances, a scalded cat. It's too late. Martin has struck. "Motherfucker," the Cowboy yells out. Other prisoners are yelling and laughing, but no one like Martin. His laugh is an evil gurgle. "I got you, motherfucker," he screams it over and over. Back covered in body waste, the Cowboy points his finger at Martin. "You're hit, motherfucker. I'm gonna kill you." Cowboy rolls the food cart off the range. 20 minutes later, the Correctional Emergency Response Team, CERT, is on our range. This is not an emergency. There is no emergency, but cops are arriving, battle ready. Helmets, body armor, a shield, and one objective. That objective is to beat Martin into submission under the guise of a cell extraction. One guard yells for Martin to cuff up. He gives the order 3 times. As expected, Martin refuses. Policy says after 3 refusals, the cops can open the door and physically extract the prisoner. After the 3rd command is met with non-compliance, the cell door is opened. Slow motion. 10 men charging forward, tackling Martin. The cell block echoes with screams, but these aren't the sounds a human makes. These are the sounds of a yelping dog. The Cowboy arrives. He slides black gloves over his violence-thirsty hands. He has the shirt he was wearing earlier. He balls it up in his hands. Cowboy decides to kick Martin in the ribs, so he does. Some of the blows are delivered to Martin's back. The Cowboy is not finished yet. He grinds his old shirt into Martin's face. "How's that taste, bitch?" the Cowboy yells, quivering and uncontrollable. Then the CERT team hog ties Martin. They toss him from his cell with no more care than a TSA worker throwing luggage into a trunk. Martin lands face first on the hard floor. This makes a particular sound. I imagine that many human beings can recognize a human head rebounding off concrete just from sound alone. There is less bass than you'd expect, and less crunching. A sharp, quick sound. It suggests bouncing, this sound. I imagine it smells like wet mops. Martin is ripped off the floor by his handcuffs. His face is bleeding. The 2 guards bounce Martin off the wall. They make a pendulum of Martin, slamming his face side to side, while they take their time walking him down the range. At the crash gate, the Cowboy football punts Martin in his ass. Martin screams out in pain. The guard takes Martin to a 4-point cell where they strip him ass naked. They lay him on a cold steel bed frame. He is restrained, each limb cuffed to the bed. For hours he is left this way, crying and screaming in agony. Martin's screams fall on deaf ears. What he did is the second worst thing a prisoner can do to a staff member. The worst you can do to a staff member is stab them. Shitting them down is a close second. It does not matter that the Cowboy has spent months antagonizing a man with mental health issues. All that matters is Martin lashed out in the only way he could. The prison tolerates guards' violence. The violence is silently approved by the executive staff and warden. In law, the correct term is acquiescence. There is ream after ream of federal court jurisprudence discussing public officials turning a blind eye to torture. Many guards hate us simply because we have committed crimes. There is a culture taught on both sides, a learned behavior. They hate prisoners, prisoners hate cops. Very few people in this environment show any compassion. When Martin hit the Cowboy with his squirt gun, the prisoners erupted in jubilation. When the guards finished punishing Martin, the guards laughed and high-fived. Together, we all create a dangerous environment for each other for no good reason. When we look at our prison system and compare it to those in Europe, the differences are stark. Switzerland focuses on rehabilitation. Here, we focus on cruel and unusual punishment. No prison staff shows any type of compassion or a desire to help or rehabilitate a prisoner. That comes with a label. To other staff, that person is an inmate lover. In this environment, this is not a label that any staff wants. Such a label comes with being ostracized from their team, their group. Prison guards have a code of silence that they live by. Very few, if any, would report the beating of a prisoner or even his murder by staff. Anyone who did that would be cutting his or her Federal Bureau of Prisons career quite short. That person would find their advancement on the career ladder to be mysteriously blocked at every turn. When it comes to staff, what happens here stays here. Morals do not apply, neither does human decency. Martin's beating and the feces rubbed in his face will go unreported, and in time will happen again. This is the world I live in, at least until March 2038. So many of us will spend the best years of our lives in cells. Decades will be wasted living lives of pain, desperation, fear, and hopelessness. The guards too have a miserable existence. They have to work in a hostile environment where tomorrow is never promised. Chapter 37. After 2 months of this miserable existence, my case manager is at my door. She wants to talk to me in private. I am led out of my cell to the same room where Ace tried to chicken fight me. Through the plexiglass window, I see the same SIS lieutenant that I refused to talk to months earlier, sitting at a desk. As I enter the room, Miss C sits me in a chair. She finds her own chair. She speaks first. Mr. Marks, the SIS department has seized letters from the Aryan Brotherhood and Dinky's crew, ordering you to be hit. We want to state place you. Do you know what that is? Yeah, you want to contract me out to another state to go to a state prison. That's it. That's what we want to do, for your safety. This is what we are doing with Pike. The down part is you will be sitting here for a year, maybe 2, while we seek state placement acceptance. I interrupt Miss C. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I cannot handle that. It's up to you, Mr. Marks, the SIS lieutenant says. No way. I'm losing it after 2 months of this shit. I'm willing to take my chances at the next spot. You could be in danger if you go to the wrong spot, Miss C says. I'm an independent. They got places where there are no active gang members. USP Coleman 2, Lee County, Allenwood. Why can't I go to one of those places? You can. We can put in a recommendation, but Grand Prairie does what they want. The people down there in Texas at the designation center don't always make the right decisions or listen to us. You're taking a chance, Marks. It is what it is. I got 40 years. If they kill me, fuck it. All right, if you change your mind, let me know. I'm doing your paperwork for a transfer this week. With that, our meeting is over, and I'm taken back to my cell. I lay in my bunk, stare at the ceiling, wondering if I just made the right decision. It's impossible for me to continue living under these conditions. I am not as strong as Pike, mentally. At the same time, his experience was much different. Had I been savagely stabbed like him, I might have chosen differently. Chapter 38. Leaving Big Sandy is the only thing on my mind. A new prison may be my doom, but it also has potential to be a new start. This is what I hope, anyway. Getting out of here is never promised. Even the R&D department is dangerous. That reality is reinforced for me today. Creeper, the first prisoner I ever saw assaulted here, was scheduled to be transferred today. His hands were cuffed behind his back, and he was led to the R&D department and placed in a holding cell with other prisoners scheduled to leave. Creeper was able to uncuff himself with a small piece of metal he hid from the guards. Prisoners call this slipping your cuffs. Sitting across from him is one of the people involved in ordering the hit on him months ago. Slyly, Creeper pulls a razor from his pants. 1 minute, he is sitting on the concrete slab. The next, he is running towards Chino. The look on Chino's face tells the story. He knows it's payback time. Chino doesn't make it to his feet. Creeper slashes at Chino's face. Chino struggles to get away. He makes it to the door, and he kicks hard to get the officer's attention. With his hands restrained behind him, he tries to protect his face by tucking it into his shoulder and burying himself into the corner of the wall. Like a wild Apache, Creeper slices up and down, yelling in Spanish like a man possessed. The guards respond by spraying Creeper with mace. Then they wrestle the razor blade from his grip to stop the wild assault on Chino. These two men should have never been scheduled on the same transfer trip. Because of Grand Prairie's staff's negligence, Chino will forever have scars on his face. Their negligence presented Creeper with the chance he had been waiting for, so he got him some revenge. Chino was a high-ranking member of the gang that Creeper once belonged to. After his latest attack on Chino, he knows he is a marked man. Some might say a dead man walking. Like me, Creeper is in the hat. Kites will be sent to every prison. His name will be on them, marked for death. His only real choice is Coleman too. But like Miss C told me, Grand Prairie does what they want. Some prisoners like living on the edge. It helps them manage their time. It doesn't matter what you get into, really. Being involved in anything keeps the organic mind from thinking about the heartbreaking reality that is being separated from family members, the world, and society. This is what moves men like those willing to accept an order to kill Creeper. Some men in here consciously welcome chaos, violence, and conflict into their lives. At Big Sandy, the new year comes in with a bang. I have spent Christmas in this cage, now New Year's. The prison is on lockdown. The guards aren't saying anything. This is usually a sign that something bad has happened. As Pike and I listen to the radio, we find out the reason for the lockdown and the bologna sandwiches from the newscaster. An inmate was murdered today at the federal prison in Inez, Kentucky. Staff members at USP Big Sandy reported that 2 cellmates were involved in a physical altercation that resulted in one cellmate stabbing the other with a prison-made shank. The inmate was stabbed in the head, resulting in the death of the inmate who was serving a life sentence. The dead prisoner's name and age is mentioned on the radio, resulting in prisoners hollering back and forth from cell to cell. "Yo, Juice, you heard that on the radio?" "Yeah, that was Roscoe, Slim. Someone killed him." "It was his celly, Slim," another voice calls out. "Who was his celly? One of the homies?" "Yeah, he's from D.C. Just came from USP Lee for stabbing a dude over there." "That's crazy, yo. How much time the new dude have?" "He got life. He killed some old dude who was a pastor in D.C. "I can't believe Roscoe was dead, Slim." The Roscoe they are talking about lived in the same housing unit as me. Knowing someone personally and knowing that they were killed here leaves me in a somber mood. Death is possible for everyone here. It could have been me or Pike just months ago. Living in solitude until we leave almost guarantees that we will not die here. We may very well make it off this mountain. Like all lockdowns, the one for Roscoe's death ends in a few days. The violence does not stop. Chapter 39. Today will be the last piece of violence I see at Big Sandy. It's almost as if it is a going-away present. Problems have been escalating between the Nazi lowriders, the guys aspiring to be California brand members, and the ABT gang in all federal penitentiaries. The brand has issued orders to all their members and the Nazi lowriders to hit every ABT gang member. Pinky never got wind of the order and doesn't know anything about the issues between his gang and his cellmate, Russell's gang. Swift and Dinky have. Pinky and Russell make it into a recreation cage with Swift, just one cage away from me and Pike. The men exchange handshakes. Dinky stayed inside today. Swift pulls Russell to the side for a brief conversation. Once the guards leave the recreation cage area, Swift punches Pinky from behind. Russell moves in to aid Swift in the assault. Pinky swings wildly, backing up. He doesn't know why his cellmate for months has joined up with the ABTs to attack him. Swift rushes Pinky, overpowering him. He picks him up and slams him to the ground. Swift holds him down as Russell slashes Pinky with a razor. A piece of Pinky's ear is cut off. The guards respond and order the men to stop fighting, but no one listens. Beanbag rounds are fired, hitting Swift, knocking him to the ground. Guards rush in and spray mace on the combatants. The men are cuffed, then separated. Pinky is escorted from the cage first. He walks past us. Blood is dripping from his face. "Those are your friends, bitch," Pike hollers. Pinky hears him but does not respond. Through eyes watery from the mace that has reached our cage, we laugh at Pinky. Pinky was attacked because he is prospecting for the Aryan Brotherhood. Swift and Russell walk him into their trap. Being in the gang has earned Pinky 25 more years in prison and has stripped a piece of his ear from him. The ruthless prison machine respects no one. Seeing Pinky brutalized does give Pike a moment of happiness. He will never have a chance to avenge what Pinky did to him. Their paths will likely never cross again. Pike will eventually be sent to a state prison. Pinky will be here until someone kills him or until he is an old man. After lunch, I'm told to pack my belongings. I'm being transferred in the morning to USP Lee. I see the sadness in Pike's face. I feel the same emotions at the moment. With the time me and Pike spent in pretrial and now here in federal prison, we've become close friends, more like brothers. Like all things in prison, everything is subject to change. What do you really think about this place, Pike? For real? I don't even know what to think about this place, Pike snorts. Honestly, this is the worst place I ever been in my life. It's a fucked up life. I'd rather be in Afghanistan than this fucking rat hole. Afghanistan? At least over there you know who your enemies are. These dudes in here will smile in your face today and stab you in the neck tomorrow. Yeah, I guess you're right, Pike. You're out of here tomorrow. Now I gotta worry about them bringing me a cellmate. What are you going to do? I'm not taking no one, plain and simple. My life is on the line. I'll be in this bitch for a year before I make it to a state prison. You could take Martin, kid. He's your co-defendant anyway. I say this laughing. Pike rolls his eyes, but he laughs back. By the time I get out of this hole, I'll be as crazy as your stepfather, Martin. Fuck you, he ain't my stepfather. I say this while throwing 2 playful punches at Pike. Federal prison is an unforgiving world, with no remorse for anyone. The federal penitentiary can break a person. Like a machine, it will chew you up and spit you out if you allow it to. Many men have left here broken, empty, destroyed for the rest of their lives. Tomorrow morning, I will walk down this range battered, damaged, but still alive. Chapter 40. I see them jumping out of their cars. My first instinct is to flee. I think I'm being robbed until I see the shiny metal of their badges. It is the Rochester Police Department, narcotics officers. They rip me from the front seat. Rich jumps out of the passenger seat to run. The snow drifts down from the black sky on a cold February 4, 2003 night. Don't move. I'll blow your fucking head off. I am laying down in the street face first, wet from the ground. A cop's knee in my back. I am handcuffed. Life as I knew it, gone forever. I never been to Kentucky, never seen blue grass. Big Sandy, here I am. Epilogue. I would leave USP Big Sandy and go to USP Lee in Jonesville, Virginia. On my first day there, many prisoners from Big Sandy like Dog and Spivey embraced me. All of us were relieved to leave the horrors of Big Sandy behind us. Pike would later go to a state prison. USP Lee had its own host of problems. I witnessed at least 2 prison murders at Lee and numerous vicious assaults. Stabbings were common. I was stabbed at USP Lee. Eventually, I would make it to a prison with a lower security classification in the Adirondack Mountains. Being closer to home relieved a lot of stress. The atmosphere was much different, and I was able to get on the education path. I was able to earn a college degree, complete over 100 rehabilitative programs, teach GED classes to other prisoners, and facilitate Alternative to Violence Project seminars. I also became a very successful jailhouse lawyer, helping many prisoners win their freedom. It wasn't easy living in prison with a 40-year sentence for a nonviolent drug crime. So many times, I thought that giving up would be easier. I was never a quitter, though. Since day one, my focus was always to get out of prison. I fought for my freedom each and every day. I would win other people's cases, but could never win my own. It was joyful to win other people's cases and send them home to their families, but also disheartening to know that I may be stuck in prison for the rest of my life, no matter how good the issues in my case were. That all changed April 20th, 2020, when Federal Judge David G. Larimer issued a decision reducing my 40-year prison term to 20 years. In that decision, he said that he believed in my rehabilitation. I am forever grateful for that decision. I was scheduled to be released from prison on June 4th, 2020. As I was walking out of the prison, a call was made from the prosecutor's office that stopped me at the door within minutes of my expected release. My family was right there waiting for me. They were waving to me. It would be the first time I could actually hug my mother in 17 years, 4 months and 21 days. But it was not to be. The government had sought a stay from the appeals court. If the court granted the government's request for a stay, I would sit in here until an appellate court reviews the decision that granted my release. On June 25, 2020, the government's request for a stay was denied, and I was released from prison after serving nearly 17 and a half years for a drug crime. Our criminal justice system sends far too many men and women to prison for far too long. While there must be consequences for our actions, the time should not result in death by incarceration. It's never okay to send a 24-year-old to prison for 40 years. People have the ability to change. I am one of many. I have always called my journey my long walk to freedom. I plan to live my best life while fighting for the women and men who deserve the same mercy I finally found after serving 17 years, 5 months, and 21 days. If after reading this book you decide you want to help others, I ask that you make a donation to the Can Do Clemency Foundation at www.candoclemency.com.